To those of you now arriving, there are seats available under the tent. All right, so we are getting ready for the national anthem. As we call on the Central Regional Coordinator, Mr. Renald Bala, to lead us in a word of prayer and ask God's blessing and guidance on this meeting.
Thank you, Dean. Ladies and gentlemen, let us give our omnipotent presence to Almighty God and let us reverence Him. Let us pray. Almighty God, we stand here this evening in your holy presence. Dear Father, as we launch what is our first political meeting for 2015 in the Montrose area, we ask you to pour out your blessings on this meeting. Bless everyone who's gathered here this evening. Bless all the speakers. And let everything that is said and done would be to the honor and to the glory to you, Almighty God, and to our political party, the Independent Liberal Party. Thank you. Amen.
Thank you so much. You may be seated. You can kindly take your seats. Again, we make the invitation to those of you standing at the back. There are seats available. You are more than welcome. You are more than welcome to join us under the tent. I am certain that there will be standing room required as the night goes along. So once again, a very, very pleasant good evening to each and every one of you. I'd like to acknowledge political leader of the ILP, Mr. Chaguanas, who is on his way. The chairman of the ILP, attorney at law, Rekha Ramjit. The executive members of the ILP who are here with us. And you, the people, the supporters, those who are interested and inquiring. You are the ones who we are here. This is what it is all about. We are grateful that you have chosen. We are grateful that you have chosen to come and to listen and to learn. Because there is no price as high as the price of ignorance, especially in 2015. We run a very, very tight ship with these political meetings because we are also on 91.9 FM. And so we want to welcome all those of you who have opened your homes to us, those of you who have turned on your radio and tuned in and locked on to this station, 91.9. We thank you so much for tuning in, and it is indeed a pleasure to be addressing you tonight. Our first speaker for tonight, a young lady, a final year student at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, and I can go on to say a straight A student. She is the General Secretary of the ILP Youth Arm. I ask you to welcome, make welcome, give a big round of applause to Ms. Shinaz Khan so that she can address us as the ILP's youth speaker for tonight. A big round of applause.
Political leader of the Independent Liberal Party, Mr. Jack Austin Warner, Chairman of the Independent Liberal Party, Attorney of Law Rekha Ramjit, specially invited guests, members of the Independent Liberal Party, a pleasant good night. National Youth Involvement, page 45 of the People's Partnership Manifesto. Tell me, maybe I might forget. Show me, perhaps I might remember. But involve me, and I will understand. I quote from the People's Partnership Manifesto, page 45. In an effort to harness the energy, imagination, intelligence, and initiative of the youths in Trinidad and Tobago, in overcoming the challenges facing them and our society, we will, promise number 1, page 45 of the People's Partnership Manifesto, recognize youths as an important partner in its social development programs in Trinidad and Tobago. Madam Prime Minister, what I saw was the deliberate misleading of so many of our nation's less fortunate youths in the scandalous life sport fiasco. Where was the recognition of the youths as an important partner? Furthermore, those abandoned youths, what became of them after the life sport program, Madam Prime Minister? Was the baby thrown out with the bath water? I am certainly glad, Madam Prime Minister, that you didn't involve me in that. Second promise, review and amend the National Youth Policy to make it relevant today and implement it in such a manner that all stakeholders interface with young people are guided by it. Madam Prime Minister, this is yet another unkept promise. By not fulfilling these promises to the nation's youth, by not reviewing the National Youth Policy, you have shown exactly how important the nation's youth is to you and the priority you have given to their development. And so I ask of you this question today, Madam Prime Minister, why? Why didn't you involve us in such a project, Madam Prime Minister? Why? Third promise, create a national task force that will research and investigate a range of issues that affect youths, which will serve as an advisory body for the National Youth Assembly. This task force will also review all relevant legislation that treat children and youths and make recommendations for the creation of alternative approaches or spaces to address the needs of delinquent youths. Prime Minister, under your watch, the only thing concerning youths that rise is delinquency, school violence, and membership in gangs. The relative ease in which drug dealers infiltrate our schools and the increased accessibility to addictive drugs has not helped in the decrease of delinquent youth. No, it has not helped. Fourth point, recognize youths as leaders today through action. Appointments to decision-making bodies of government and visible respect will be afforded to the leadership of legitimate youth organizations. Prime Minister, can you give me some examples of the youths being recognized as young leaders under your watch? I certainly cannot remember or recall any such examples. I do recall, though, that our nation's footballers were sent to compete with $50. At least it was US. I also do recall that our female footballers, our young girls, having lost the qualifiers, were left on the field to cry, to lift themselves. PM1 had long left. Why? Why didn't you show them caring? Why didn't you stood there as a Prime Minister with them, Madam Prime Minister? Why? Fifth, create fifth promise on the People's Partnership Manifesto. Create community-based programs that encourage and empower social workers and psychologists who will be responsible for smaller manageable areas or communities to provide support services to the youths. Madam Prime Minister, in which community has this been implemented? Certainly not my community. And who are the psychologists? Who are the psychologists? I want to know the names of the psychologists. And how do we contact them? What support services do they provide? Can our community benefit from this program? Why don't you implement and involve us in this, Madam Prime Minister? I ask the question over and over, why? Sixth promise, faith-based and community youth organizations actively engaged in value-creating community work will be supported by the state to achieve desirable goals. Prime Minister, I am not sure how much value was created and who the values was created for. But how do you determine if you have reached the desirable goals when you did not involve the youths firstly in setting those goals? Why didn't you involve us, Madam Prime Minister? Again, I ask the question, why didn't you involve us? Prime Minister, your seventh promise on the People's Partnership Manifesto on youth involvement facilitate and promote the notion of youth entrepreneurship in schools, communities, and nationally. Prime Minister, which schools have you implemented this entrepreneurship program? Is it the affluent and wealthy communities? Because it is certainly not in my community. And again, why didn't you involve us in this, Madam Prime Minister? Why? You see, Madam Prime Minister, you have told me to expect great things from you. You have shown me, you have shown the youths that it's okay to promise, and then you disappoint the youths. Prime Minister, I ask you kindly today, don't involve me in that. I thank you.
And they told us that the treasury was empty. You all remember that?
Yes. Tim Gopi Singh.
They told us as a result of the wastage and squander mania of the PNM that the economy was on the brink of collapse and that it would take nothing short of a miracle to fix. You all remember that? They told the public servants 5% is all we could give you because the treasury empty. But we put our faith and our trust in Winston Bukaran, then Minister of Finance, to rescue us from the morass that the PNM had left us in. Or so the partnership told us. You all remember that?
Yes.
Yes. Well, Mr. Dukaran's tenure didn't last very long. Not as long as the Red House fire. And the Prime Minister then brought in the goodly Larry Hawaii. She appealed to his sense of patriotism to come on board and rescue TNT. That cost us $11.625 million. That's right. Because Mr. Hawaii said if I had stayed at First Citizens Bank, that is the amount of money I would have made.
Wow.
So, if you want me to leave and come to the government, you have to pay me for lost earnings. Handsomely. So we paid him $11.625 million. In addition to that, he takes home a pay packet every month of $60,000. That's right. $41,000 basic salary and $19,000 in quicks. Have we gotten value for that money, Trinidad and Tobago? That is the question I ask. Over the last couple of weeks, or the last few days, we have heard about Moody's downgrading the Trinidad and Tobago government. Cause for concern? Most of us would say, no. Prime Minister said, no study that. Moody's get it wrong. Forget them, they don't know what they're talking about. The economy is on sound footing. After all, we predicted a budget deficit after 6 months of $3.9 billion. But we make a surplus of $47 billion. And we're trying to figure out how that happened. Kamlamatics. That's right. That's more difficult than add maths. I'm still trying to figure it out. Up till now, the Prime Minister can't tell us how we get that surplus, but we wait to hear.
Some people bring back some money.
Indeed. Somebody called the radio and they say, Munila bring back some. Rambachan bring back some. Sharma bring back some. Anand bring back some. Yes. So we clear the deficit and we make a surplus. Anil. I saw Anil on Monday on a plane when we went to Cottage funeral in Tobago. Yes, man. Enjoying himself with the family. That is Trinidad and Tobago for you. So we see where this whole issue of Moody's downgrading Trinidad and Tobago has now become a political football. That's right. So the opposition says, I tell all that, mismanagement, being incompetent. The government says, don't worry, don't worry. But Trinidad and Tobago, I tell you, there is cause for worry and there is cause for concern. The Prime Minister says Dr. Rowley is chicken licking, running up and down the place saying the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Don't take him on. Well, if we are to listen to the Prime Minister and we are to believe that Moody's is wrong, then I guess the latest news that we got yesterday is also wrong. That Moody's has now downgraded First Citizens Bank. That's right. New York, May 6, 2015. Moody's Investors Service has downgraded First Citizens Bank Limited long-term local and foreign currency deposit ratings to BAA2 from BAA1. From stable to negative. That's right. And they went further to say that the bank's negative outlook reflects the negative outlook on the government's bond rating. And if Moody's has caused to downgrade the government again, then the bank is also likely to be downgraded. So, First Citizens has gotten downgraded. NGC has been downgraded. Petrotrin has been downgraded. The Tobago House of Assembly has been downgraded. And Moody's has said the reason why they had to downgrade the THA is because the THA receives 98% of its income from the government. What does this Moody's rating really mean? It says to international investors that if the Trinidad and Tobago issues a bond, and as you know, that is one of the ways that the government can borrow money. If they issue a bond, the likelihood that the government is going to default on that bond, in other words, when the time comes for them to give you back your capital, they wouldn't be able to pay it. The risk has gone up based on the research that we have done. But the government says, don't worry, all is well. We definitely have cause for concern, Trinidad and Tobago. Furthermore, what does this downgrade mean? Now, take for instance, if you have an international investor considering coming to Trinidad and Tobago to invest big money, who do you think he's going to listen to? Kamla Prasad Bisesa?
Larry.
Uda Munila? Larry Owa? Or Moody's, who has been around for 106 years. That's right, they have been doing this rating business for over 106 years in over 133 countries. So Moody's is with their salt. They certainly have established themselves as a credible rating agency. But the government will have us believe that if it is somebody who wants to come to Trinidad and Tobago to invest, they don't care about that. You know what they care about? Box drain. How much meters of pipe we lay? How much road they pave?
She like pipe.
That's right, pipe, and more pipe. Yeah. She don't know the size of the pipe, but she know the pressure good. That is what she said. I didn't say it. Prime Minister said it. That's right.
He says a pipe has no pressure.
I didn't say it. So, Moody's Trinidad and Tobago issued 3 warnings. They said that Trinidad and Tobago, the government has no clear macroeconomic policy, limited diversification, and inadequate macroeconomic data. So basically they were asking the government, do you have a plan, a medium-term plan in place to treat with the economy? And the Prime Minister yesterday, she told Dr. Rowley, we have a plan. They have a plan. Well, let me tell you what the plan was, Trinidad and Tobago. Let me find it here for you. And this is coming from the mouth of one Mr. Larry Hawaii in 2015 after he was giving a speech on the budget. And Mr. Hawaii was asked the question. He was sitting at a forum, and the theme of the forum was whether or not Trinidad and Tobago would be able to afford the future. And here's what Mr. Hawaii had to say. He said he didn't think the country was in a crisis mode. I think we are concerned, and quite rightly so, that we are still a monocrop economy. We used to be sugar, then we became cocoa, then we were oil, and now we are gas. But here's the kicker. Hopefully, we could be something else somewhere down the road. Hopefully, we could be something else somewhere down the road. When down the road, we don't know. What we could be, we don't know. But hopefully, we could be. So as we go along, and the Prime Minister wakes up whatever she dreamed last night, she will meet in cabinet and she will tell them, and we will put that in place. He goes further to say, I really hope that where we go from here is more diversified. I believe that if we don't adjust, then, like dinosaurs, we will become extinct. Since the days of Eric Williams, people have been saying we need to diversify the economy. That is nothing new. We know that. But the government promised prior to 2010 that they would have diversified the economy when they came in. Did they do that? Absolutely not. We listened to the Prime Minister on Monday night, on the Monday night forum. Forum, that's right.
Yes, forum.
And what did we hear? She told us about the juniper field with BP. She told us about Mitsubishi, as she pronounced it, bringing $1 billion US to invest in the energy sector. She told us about the Lauren Manatee field between Trinidad and Tobago and Venezuela. She told us about the return of Royal Dutch Shell to Trinidad and Tobago. So when we should be moving away from the energy sector, as Moody's is telling us, the Prime Minister said forget them, and we focusing more and more on the energy sector. So Trinidad and Tobago, is it any wonder that we are where we are today? Moody's also chastised the government for the consistent budget deficits which we have been faced with since they came into office. Deficit after deficit after deficit. Well, what do you expect when you spend $494 million NGC on propaganda and PR? And you have a Minister of Energy who tells us, we did surveys and we realized from the survey, a significant portion of Trinidad and Tobago did not know that NGC is a national company operating in Trinidad. So what does the national gas company mean? So you have to do a survey and spend $400 million to tell the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago that NGC is a national company. Yeah, that's right. We foolish. Prime Minister always talking about big people party. They spent $320,000 to buy tickets to a all-inclusive fare. $1,600 a ticket. That wasn't a big people party. No, it wasn't. And again, I come back to the point of the consistent deficits that they've been running since 2010. Moody's talked about that too. And the Prime Minister chastised Patrick Manning for the same thing. And what is she doing now? Just like the election date. Manning had it in his back pocket, in his fob, so I don't know where she's keeping it. I will leave it to you. I would not suggest. In 2004, the country recorded a budget surplus of $1.5 billion. 2005, a surplus of $2.4 billion. 2006, a surplus of $1.8 billion. 2007, a surplus of $300 million. 2008, a surplus of $3 billion. But in 2008-2009, we know about the financial crisis that took place and the collapse of FICO and so on. We recorded a deficit of $6.7 billion. In 2010, we recorded a surplus of $200 million. 2011, deficit $1.1 billion. 2012, deficit $1.8 billion. 2013, deficit $8.8 billion. Well, I couldn't find the figures for 2014 because, as Moody's say, you can't rely on the data. So I guess that one in Joala Rambaran back pocket.
and maybe he might release it sometime soon. I'm sure Dana will get it very soon. But Trinidad and Tobago, that is where we are. We asked the question, did we get value for the 11.625 million that we paid to buy Larry Hawaii? Did we? Are we getting value for the $60,000 a month that we're paying to Mr. Hawaii?
No.
No, we're not. But it was so bad that when the Prime Minister realized Mr. Hawaii wasn't worth the 11.625 million, she gave him help. So she put Vasant Bharat as a minister in the Ministry of Finance. She put Rudy Indar Singh as a minister in the Ministry of Finance. So we now have 3 finance ministers. So we're paying $180,000 a month in salaries for 3 finance ministers, plus the 11.6 million that we spent. That is your government working for you, Trinidad and Tobago.
Jail for them.
Jail for them. As the former Attorney General says, jail them make the right fit. And they will soon find that out. That's right, Trinidad and Tobago. But we look forward to that. But I am concerned, Trinidad and Tobago, as to where we are going as a country. Our economy is no better today than it was in 2010. As a matter of fact, it's worse off. And I say I have 2 minutes. That's more than enough. We are in fact worse off, Trinidad and Tobago. And the government clearly has no plan going forward. It is left to you, therefore, to ensure that come election day, that you vote and you vote wisely. It is a crying shame that every 5 years we have to ask ourselves the question, who we go put? Who we go put? I have heard insanity defined as doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result every time. But isn't that what we've been doing for the past decades? Tag team politics. So the PNM gets a 9 years, the partnership gets a 5 years, or the partnership play the fool, and we get back the PNM a 5 years, and what happens after that? Yeah, these guys don't mind relaxing in opposition for 5 years. It works nice. So, I urge you, Trinidad and Tobago, make the right choice. If not now, when? If not the ILP, then who? The ILP has a plan for this country to take us forward. And we are asking you to give us the opportunity to do so. You all know Mr. Wan is a performer, and he is positing the ILP as a platform for the next generation of politicians. So we have a mix of young people and a mix of not so young people, wisdom and experience. That is what we offer to you, the electorate. We present ourselves to you. You be the judge.
And with that speech, if the polls open now, I'll vote for you. Fantastic, fantastic. Let's hear it one more time. Let's hear it one more time. All right, moving right along. It is indeed a pleasure to introduce the Deputy Chairman of the ILP tonight in Montrose, which will be a memorable night for him, making his maiden political debut and maiden political speech addressing you. Let us give him a warm welcome, one that he will never forget.
You are creators. Rise up, mighty people, accomplish what you will. Without confidence, you're twice defeated in the race of life.
Let's look away the voices that gave the people bright. Now we're plunging into darkness. We all have to play our part, make a bold start. Every distance and every artist. Media houses been all this and support the slackness of so much alcohol in our parties. While the girls are grow old and it's up over she drink like a road. Now she not care with them proper road. It's times like these I'm missing our heroes. Times like these I really wish they were around. Shouldn't have to be like this.
He who has never learned to obey cannot be a good commander. Aristotle. The challenge of leadership is to be strong, but not rude. To be kind, but not weak. Be bold, but not bully. Be thoughtful, but not lazy. Be humble, but not timid. Be proud, but not arrogant. Have humor, but without folly. Jim Rohn. There were many dark moments when my faith in humanity was sorely tested, but I would not and could not give myself up to despair. That way lies defeat and death. The late, great Nelson Mandela. Thank you, Chairman, the people of Chaguanas East, Trinidad and Tobago, and the international community, the political leader of the ILP, Mr. Jack Austin Warner, by the way, who is viewing us live on Warner TV, Ms. Rika Ramjet, all protocols observed. To begin with, I would like to make a declaration, which is, it's the dawn of a new era. I'll say it again. It's the dawn of a new era. This evening, I want to briefly, and I understand the timing, answer 3 questions, which are: 1, what is the main belief of the ILP? Which is why we exist as a political party. What we do as a political party. And how we do what we do as a political party. So let's start with the why. We exist today because we have a dream and a desire. A dream and a desire to positively touch the lives, the people of our blessed nation. Do you know why? Because the people are our heroes. We desire to positively impact every being that lives in our blessed land, and that they will then impact the world. We are about touching generations, and in so doing, therefore, our current impact will augur well for our children, our grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. We at the ILP have a plan for more than 100 years. Our plan for Trinidad and Tobago is for centuries. Again, do we know why? Do you know why? Because the people are our heroes. Some local heroes. Heroes like Penny Comisiong, Giselle Laron, Brian Lara, Aisley Crawford are from our soil, just to mention a few. Ladies and gentlemen, there are some unknown heroes amongst us today. There are some potential heroes amongst us today, and it's our responsibility to create the right atmosphere and environment for them to thrive. For them to thrive, not survive. These heroes are our future leaders. They are our future judges, businessmen, businesswomen, politicians, prime ministers, etc. Our work that we do today, our revelations of today, is the foundation that we lay for them to thrive in. Now, as I reflect on some international heroes and leaders of the past, such as Mahatma Gandhi, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, they all planned for centuries. That's why they seem timeless, or some of us would say they were before their time. Their works have had a positive impact on us today. They all positively impacted the lives of the people all over the world. Actually, that's why we were born. Haven't you ever asked yourself, why was I born? We were basically born to impact people, to touch the lives of people. We at the ILP, we love people. And therefore, we are prepared to give our lives for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a dearth of people lovers today in our country, and by extension the world. We need to think about our individual and collective roles that we play in the proliferation of our heroes and leaders in Trinidad and Tobago. But I have great news for you. It's the dawn of a new era. That's why the ILP exists today. We love the people, and we are going to serve, and we are going to lead the people. Let's discuss the what. This is what we do. That was the why. We are servants. The word minister means to serve. It is written, he that is chief amongst you, let him serve. We are prepared to serve you and not you serve us. When we become ministers, and I'm being futuristic here, when we become ministers in the government, our objective is not to become wealthy. Our objective is to serve you and make you the citizens enjoy life as families, as a society, and as a nation. It's our duty to make our nation a paradise for you to dwell in once more. Trinidad and Tobago has adequate resources for all of us to be well off, and it's not just for a chosen few. I have a few rhetorical questions. Are you all satisfied with the state of our economy?
No.
According to Dominic, do you know that we have just been downgraded by the international agency Moody's? Why? Do we feel safe today? The murder rate is escalating. Crime is on the rise. Now, most times, immediately when we speak about crime, we think about kidnapping, murders, we think about the guys who sell the drugs, etc. But what about corruption? They call it malpractice in public office, misappropriation of funds, and I could go on and on. This is a crime. Corruption is a crime. It is tantamount to the kidnapping, the drugs, etc. According to what someone told me, he said it and we laughed. They are thieves. And there must be and will be a focus on our children. 2, we will implement literacy programs via our proposed reform educational system. Readers are leaders. Readers are philosophers. Readers are thinkers. There's a dearth of thinkers in our nation today. The people who run the world are thinkers. They are the philosophers that are in control. Our children, your children, my children, are the future philosophers of today. And they are our heroes. They are the future Bill Gates, Carlos Helios, Donald Trumps of Trinidad and Tobago, and of the world. This culture must be fostered because it's not going to occur inadvertently. Crime. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to deal with crime. And remember what I said about the crime before. When you think about crime, don't think about the drugs and the kidnapping alone. Infrastructure. This one is passionate to me. Money management. Our children are not taught financial literacy in schools. This must be part of the curriculum going forward. The objective is to foster the culture of forward-thinking people by liberating the minds of the people.
There shall be no government formed in this land without the Independent Liberal Party. And just to make sure you heard me, there shall be no government formed in this land without the Independent Liberal Party. Now, on the Monday night, what's the word again, Dominic? Forum? On the Monday night forum, we heard our Prime Minister say, or ask, or beg the people in that area in Sandy Granny to give her another 5 years so she'll be able to deal with crime. She begged for another 5 years to deal with crime. Now, just like the other speakers, because this party is not about Mobilang and Old Talk. We're going to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. This is where you're getting the real deal. So I, like my previous speakers, want to refer to her manifesto. In 2010, this is what she said to us, and I want to remind you. I want to remind you that a manifesto is a contract between you and the government. Yes. The government said, listen to me, give me your vote, and this is what I'm going to do for you. That is what it is. That is what I'm... Where did you say you saw Anil Dominic? On a plane to Tobago, enjoying family life? Yes. Then she says, we will deploy police on the streets, on the beat, and in the communities, and increase police presence everywhere. Are you feeling secure, people? Are you feeling that you have sufficient police presence? But her manifesto also said, that is what she promised you in 120 days, we will re-engineer the justice system to ensure swift justice. I am a practicing attorney at law, at the criminal bench. And I am telling you, the most recent case I had to do, the man was in prison for 13 years awaiting trial. 13 years, and that's not the only one. This justice system has slowed down rather than improved. And that is why the bail amendment bill is such a terrible thing. But I'll come to that just now. So she promised to make sure we had quicker justice. Nothing is happening in that arena at all. It is taking much longer, not only in the civil arena, but in the criminal arena as well. And then she promised that at the end of 5 years, the crime and personal security issues will be decidedly improved and the justice system overhauled, resulting in faith that justice will be done and seem to be done. So why is she begging you 5 years later for a chance to really deal with crime? The very fact that she's begging for an opportunity says to you and to me that she has failed miserably to deal with crime. Now, we in the Independent Liberal Party, we ain't just talking about what she do or she ain't do it. But what is only one thing she really do. She build box train, she repave road, and she build some bridges. And I just have to pause at this moment to welcome the political leader of the Independent Liberal Party, Mr. Chaguanas. And there was some discussion going on about the leaders' debate. So I said, you know, the commission should really consider all the potential leaders for Prime Minister, because really in Trinidad and Tobago, it will really only have one man who should be the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. And right here and now in Montrose, I'll say to you, the reason for that is because he's a man of representation, action, and performance. In any ministry that Mr. Warner had occupied during his short time, from 2010 onwards, was performance. And even when he's not a minister, his community will tell you that he's a man of performance. On a Saturday from 4 o'clock in the morning, I get text Mr. Warner in office, seeing his constituents, etc. But I want to go back a little bit, go back to the issue of crime. Now, if it is that they were able to do anything, the Prime Minister was able to do anything about crime, then why is it that if you go onto the website, all these statistics have been cleared off the website. They don't want you to know what the true statistics of crime really, where it really lies at this point in time. You used to get these statistics, you can't anymore. You cannot anymore get these statistics. Because of course, the crime situation has gotten so bad. I say that perhaps one of the first things that should be done is that we should have made permanent the position of the Commissioner of Police. But you see, it suited the previous Attorney General, because what he said, let me keep him acting now. Because if we keep him acting, you know, we gonna have him on a string. He gonna do what we say. So it was not in their best interest to do anything about the acting position. But I wanted to deal with one thing tonight. One thing tonight where the Prime Minister talked about effective management of law and order. And what we got was the bail amendment bill. And I don't want you for one moment to believe that that really protecting you. What it does, it removes the security, it removes the freedom of the people. Because you have to think, whether it is your child, your brother, your sister, your parent, your cousin, your neighbor, your godchild, who will be the victim of this. And this is what it does, in a nutshell. This bail amendment bill says that if you have one pending matter, and people pending mean it ain't come to trial yet, right? It's waiting for the, and in this country under the Constitution, you are innocent until proven guilty. Just now we reach a situation when they charge you, they say you're guilty one time. Because this is what is happening. If you have one pending charge, right? One pending charge, not heard yet, and they arrest you for another charge where they say, where they allege that you have a gun, you are denied bail. You are denied bail. So you have no convictions. As far as the law of this country is concerned, you are a person of good character, and you are denied bail for 120 days. And that is rare jail, and I'll tell you why. In this country, it takes 18 months to 2 years before you can get a forensic report. And without the forensic report, you cannot have a trial for a gun matter. Worse than that, and I'm so glad Hayden here tonight, a real glad Hayden here tonight. You could imagine Hayden, handsome Hayden, looking good and green. You can imagine Hayden get charged, right? 2 weeks later, God forbid, 2 weeks later, Hayden walking down the road with his handsome self, and some policemen are like, how we looking so good, and decide to charge him. All the policemen have to go and do is tell the magistrate Hayden had a gun. And no bail for 120 days, and that could be extended to no bail for 1 year. Hayden now, an innocent man of good character, law-abiding citizen, until a policeman decided to drop 2 charges on him. He has to go in remand, and in remand, in a 10 by 10 cell, you have 12 to 15 men. Hayden, 12 to 15 men in one room, using one bucket. Do you want your rights to be eroded to such an extent that your child or your relative will be subjected to that without a trial? Jail is for people who have been found guilty. When you do this to people, you are taking away their rights. More than that, you put in a good boy and you get out a bad man. Because when you have to stay in jail for that length of time under those conditions, what is going to happen? And this government knows, you know, because in 2013 it was this government that commissioned a report about the conditions in jail, in remand, I might have, in remand when they sent everybody who awaited trial. This government commission that people, and you know what the report said? It's subhuman conditions. Even animals shouldn't live like that. That is what that report said. So when you have a bail amendment bill that says that is effective management of law and order, I say to you people that this government is riding on our fear, our insecurity because of the level of crime. And they're not doing anything to deal with it. But the ILP has said tonight, and I'm saying again that the ILP does have a plan for crime. does have a plan, and whether or not we get a debate, we don't want to debate anymore because we're bringing it to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We don't have to be in no room to tell you what is what. We don't have to be in no room with two people dressed up in suits when we could stand up here in green and tell you what our plans are. Because you are going to vote in the next election on issues and policies, and we don't need no room to allow us to tell. We need this. We need to talk to you on a one-to-one. Stand up in your neighbor's yard and your yard and tell you what our plans are for this country. Because I tell you, no government is going to be formed in this country without the ILP. We are going to be the game changer. We are going to hold the balance of power. And we are going to do what happened in other Caribbean countries. All we need is one seat. All we need is one seat. We will get more than that. We'll be fighting more than that. But we will hold the balance of power. Because this, I'm going to just name a few things there, because I know you're waiting to hear Mr. Warner. So we are going to, first of all, everybody gets scholarship. We are going to specifically provide scholarship in the area of crime fighting. Our manifesto will soon be out, and you will have the opportunity to read that. We are going to develop and start additional forensic facilities at strategic locations, and I'll tell you why. So that you don't have to wait 2 years to get a forensic report. Before you can have a matter charge. That when today there was somebody who's talking about, well, you know, a lot of crimes are being committed with guns. Well, first of all, you have to explain where the 40 guns gone from forensic. But besides that, the reason is it's taking 2 years to get a forensic report. We are going to establish with immediate effect a Tucupita consulate to be manned by, but not limited to, Trinidad and Tobago Police Special Branch officers. And the reason for that is we know we have a drug problem, a drug trade problem. We are going to establish a National Crime Reduction Advisory Committee. We're not going to put nothing on 120 days. We want properly staffed with proper discipline to tell us what we need to do. You love this one. We're going to review the process of hiring the Commissioner of Police. That is what we have to do. We are going to reintroduce night and establish weekend courts with an emphasis to reduce court cases backlog. And so we can speed up the delivery of justice. We're not talking talk here. We're giving you the actual nuts and bolts. And this is one that I know my political leader, his heart is close to that. We need to establish summary courts in remand yard of the maximum security prison to speed up the process. We need to speed up the process. We need to take it where it's supposed to be. And to deal with the need for greater policing, we are going to recruit 5,000 SRP officers with 3,000 to be absorbed as community support officers. But before I go on that, they go be properly trained. We ain't going to have no commissioner of police come and say, well, you know, they weren't properly trained. That is why most of them committed offenses themselves. Because before the courts are so many SRPs. It's unbelievable. But these are going to get the same training as normal police officers because they have the same duties and responsibilities and because they also could carry a gun. So ladies and gentlemen, what I want to say to you tonight is that Kamla Prasad Bisesa is begging for a second chance to deal with crime. She had her 5 years. She didn't keep her promise. It's about time you give the opportunity to a political party that have a plan, to a political party that had the best national security minister that had 5 years of ever so. And so tonight, I want to thank you all very, very much for giving me your time, and good night.
This government that we put in charge, incompetence is creating problem. I said down with them, no hesitation, down with them, no time to wait, down with them. They must understand.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chairman Dinan Singh, and all my speakers at the head table. And I see we have here our Deputy Chairman, he's buried who lives in this area. And therefore, even I want to especially thank you as well for joining us at this meeting. I want to also answer the unseen very early. When he says that the role of a position leader is to be the shadow of the Prime Minister, and he's a Prime Minister in waiting. Well, if anybody wants to be in Kamala's shadow, they are madman. I am a madman with the drum. To be in Kamala's shadow. So for once, that does not have any relevance to trying to be. Alright? Good. And also too, before I start, let me apologize to the people of Faizabad for my not being with them last evening, yesterday. I had a choice. Either be Faizabad at the meeting or stay in Parliament and register and know on behalf of the ILP. I chose the latter. I hope I made the right choice, right decision. And I want to tell Faizabad, when we come back there, I shall be there. But on your behalf, ILP, and with Chairman's approval, I had to stay last time and take the grind, and take the insult, and take the snide remarks, and take even wage marks buying, and giving and chopping. I took all of that last time to vote no.
Yes, sir.
Before I forget also, I want to say, and by the way, I think people on the Warner TV, some people complain that the thing is fluctuating. I know why, but I'll leave it to you. Alright? My only quality for me where I was today at lunchtime was extremely good. And you guys are the best, so I'm not worried. Before I said of course the TV guys are working to make sure the program is very good. And I have no doubt that they shall continue to do so. Before I continue also too, I want to especially thank Mr. Ali, who gave us his yard. And believe you me, we were going across to Launchpad for a Cottage meeting. And the chairman and his team said, no, it's a small meeting, a Cottage we want. We don't want, of course, that big yard as yet. We are going to these community meetings to talk to people one-on-one in small groups. Because our style is different. Our style is not of busing people at meetings. People come on their own. Our style is to go to the community, small groups, talk to you almost one-on-one, to exchange ideas, to talk to you and you talk to us. Because no party, at least of course the ILP, does not have all the ideas of the run this country. Some people feel they do, like the UNCPP, but we don't. And therefore, that small child there can tell us something. And then therefore we come to each community to talk with you, and you to talk with us. And therefore, thank Mr. Ali for having us here. And in fact, when we came here on Saturday to visit the site, and Mr. Ali told us we can come here, no charge. Raj gave us lights at no charge, free of charge. He says he gave us 7, 8, 10 cases of water at no cost. That kindness touched us. And I was instructed by the executive chairman and team that we should make some small gift to Mr. Ali tonight for his kindness. And as such, therefore, I want Mr. Ali to come forward to present him a gift on behalf of the ILP for his kindness here tonight. Mr. Ali, please. And I will ask the chairman, I never put that woman. I would ask the chairman to present Mr. Ali and his school with a new brand, fully loaded laptop. Some people hide and ashamed to be ILP. Mr. Ali is proud. Very proud. And of course, we have Madam Tunapuna, you proud also. A former PNM, stalwart, and today she has seen the light. Today she has seen the light. So again, Mr. Ali, from the ILP executive, a new brand laptop to you, for you and the students.
Thank you very much.
Okay. My friends,
I had planned to come to you tonight to talk to you about Larry Hawaii. After all, Larry Hawaii lives in this area. And there are many things about him you don't know. And there are many things about his government also that you should know. But at the very last minute, I changed my mind. I planned also to talk to you about the Trinidad and Tobago Debates Commission and Catherine Kumar and to tell you why they don't want the ILP in the debate. I wanted to tell you how their role is to keep this country divided. And they want a debate between the PNM and the UNC. And what they perceive to be an African party and an Indian party. And then they want a party like us, which embraces it all. They want a party because that division in society is good for their business, to divide the country. But before they make up that trial, we told them to take any possibility of any invitation and to shove it. Yes. We don't want to do that. Because while they have a leaders debate, if you're lucky, we will have a debate with your leaders. And your leaders are here in the ILP. They can talk down there. This, of course, Chamber of Commerce, whose mission is to support big business, is there. This is there. We are not big business. We serve the little people, you, your families, and therefore tonight I plan to come here and to big them up. As Dane would say, how do you say it again? Feather. Yes, come here and feather them. I said feather and close for them tonight. But again, at the last minute, I changed my mind. Because I said, there is no way I want to dignify the foolishness of the Chamber of Commerce. Then I said, look, let me talk to you about Moody's downgrade on the economy of this country. About this downgrade of Petrochem, this downgrade of the National Gas Company, this downgrade of the Tobacco House of Assembly, and yesterday is downgrade of First Citizens Bank. That is important, and I said tonight you have to be told about that. That's true. Yes. But then I say again, not tonight. Not tonight. Because if I had begun that discussion with you tonight, your stay here would have been much longer than Mr. Ali would have wanted. And therefore, to avoid that, and before the school chair meets us here tomorrow morning, I say, not tonight. So we come again to talk to you on these matters. And therefore I said to you that the best thing I felt I could talk to you about tonight is about in defense of the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. We and you and all of us must fight to defend that noble institution. That institution which Eric Williams and of course people like John Montano and Suki and these guys left for us. I said yesterday in Parliament, I lived at Londonville as a little boy. I walked to school 6 miles to Chaguanas for 6 years, doing of course my school certificate, 4 years, and then high school certificate. I walked 6 miles from Londonville to Chaguanas in the morning, and then 6 miles back in the afternoon on a scholarship. But my scholarship money had to be divided to send my sisters to Holy Faith Convent. And therefore my mother, bless her soul, took part of the money and buy books for me with goggles. Young people, they don't know what goggles. They don't know what goggles. They feel a real dog and a real hair. But you and I know, I want with goggles. Because it's saving one money for scholarship, send my sisters to school. One in Tobago, one in the US, after many times we could see them. So I, of course, know about suffering. And I said to you that I had to come here to talk to you because at the end of the day, this here is my background. I played football in Enterprise. I played football in Londonville. I played football in Chaguanas. My football upbringing came from here. Wasn't from FIFA. Wasn't from the 176 countries I've traveled to. It came from here. With a bus-up talks most times. But it came from here. So I felt committed, therefore, to talk to you. Because as a young man, going to school at Press, one of my dreams has always been to win the parliament. I'd like to hear Suki talk. I'd like to hear Winston Margaret talk. In the school days of long ago, you have a book called Student's Companion, written by Wilfred Best. And in those days, ministers would never change. They would never be changed. Like, not for now, every week, as today. In those days, you had 12 ministers, and they were put in that Student's Companion for years, 5 years. And to do, those days was, of course, scholarship and so on, not C, but to do college exhibition in those days, you knew all of that. Up to today, I know that the Minister of Health was Norman Tang. Minister of Education was Ray Joseph in those days. And therefore, I'm saying to you, when I learned those things in school, I said, I want to be like them. But what I have seen happen in our parliament today, I don't want you to ever hope to be there. And I tell you something tonight, it's not the place I want to be, except that it's the place I have to be with the ILP to change it. And yesterday was a travesty. Yesterday I saw injustice personified. Yesterday I saw a national disgrace that all of them, all 24 of them, should hang their heads in shame forever. I will go to detail what happened yesterday. You know about it by now. And if not, of course, then something wrong with you. But I want to tell you about another matter. Because this morning, on TV6, Channel 5, to be quite clear with you, TV6, but Channel 5. Not Channel 6. On TV6 this morning, I heard Dr. Munira talking to Fazil Mohammed. I want to say again to you, TV6 is not Channel 6. Channel 6 is CNMG, yes, better known as UNC6. Yes, yes, yes. I know they are here tonight somewhere. Yeah. I don't know who sent them, but I have no problem with that. It's free broadcast for us. We don't have to pay or bust anybody, and therefore they want to be here, so here. But UNC6 had their own program. And I said to you this morning, when I saw Munira on TV6, I said to myself, the PR campaign has started. Because for him to be there this morning, he would have had to leave home by 4 a.m. And he was there and back on Channel 3 and so on, talking to the people this morning. And I heard Munira say, in answering a question from Fazil Mohammed, Munira said that technical people, the persons who know about these things, examined the emails and confirmed Google's advice that the emails are fake. And he says, I quote him now, and that is normal for technical people in Parliament to discern, unquote. He is saying that the people in Parliament look at the Google report and say that the emails are not fake. What he has done in that one statement was to impugn the character of the very hard-working staff at the Parliament. Since when is the Parliament staff a substitute for the police? I said before, I say again, if the UNC are so good to look at the Google report, if they are so good that Parliament could replace the police, why the hell they going to solve the murders that take place in the country? Yes. Why not? Go and solve the murders. A murder took place almost a year ago. To this day, nothing. But they were solved Google and email. And Munilal came and said the staff at Parliament are technical people. And that day, the ones who judged and said it was good. I am concerned, friends. I'm very concerned. Because what he is doing is drawing the Parliament people in his government's foolishness. And I'm saying to you, it is bad, it's wrong. What he's doing, what he did this morning, is to say to the country that his government which has a vendetta against the PNM and anything or anyone opposed to them, this government, he says, this government has been assisted by the Parliament. Let me say at the outset that the Parliament staff helps all parliamentarians from time to time. But I'm sure not one member of staff in that Parliament is complicit in this action of the PP. Not one. Not one of them took part in the abominable behavior of capital and parliamentarians last night. Not one of them. And therefore, I must place on record here tonight my disgust at what Munilal and his wicked government are now trying to do. And say to him, no way, Munilal, no way. I want to recap for you very briefly what this UNC government has been doing in the nation's parliament, your parliament, these past 6 weeks. 6 weeks. My friends, during these past 6 weeks, when our economy is taking a nosedive, when industrial problems are bedeviling the country, left, right, and center, nurses, doctors, telephone people, police, to name it, all over where you turn, industrial problems bedeviling the country. When this government has to seriously consider Moody's comments on our economy, when this government should be concerned about what Moody has said about Petrotrin, National Gas, THA, and FCB as of yesterday, all matters of national concern, all of these matters, this government neglected these past 6 weeks. And these past 6 weeks, they pursued a vendetta against the PNM, a kind of innate hatred against the PNM and anything the PNM represents. Let me say clearly, the PNM can talk for itself. I have no problem with that. We are even competent to talk for them. What I'm talking about tonight here is how a government in one fell swoop destroyed an institution, destroyed the hallowed halls of Parliament. And therefore you and I have a role to play and to express our disgust at what took place last night. That's right. You and I, right? So therefore, tonight, it's not of course because the IB talking for the PNM. We're talking, I say again, against what happened last night. They destroyed your dream and my dream and your children's dreams. And I'm saying, what they have done overnight is taking this multiracial society, this multiracial paradise, and made it paradise lost. Paradise lost. And it's left to you and me, therefore, to bring it back. My friends, nothing was said for the past 6 weeks about the people's business. Nothing. It's only about rolling. And therefore what they have done is to convert Parliament into a Monday night for rum. What they have done, I say again, is to convert Parliament into a Monday night for rum. That's wrong. That's wrong. My dear friends, any house in any country, including the US and the UK, can censure any one of its members. They can censor them. CNSURE in case of posted value. Oh, he told me sometimes. So in case, therefore, a member misbehaves, any house can censure its members. The house can warn them, can admonish them. The house can demand that the person apologize by way of motion. But when you move into the state of suspension, when you begin to suspend, my friends, it's a horse of a different color. Different color. Very, very different indeed. Last night in the debate, and this morning on television, on TV 6, Hema on TV 3, and Paul Richards on UNC 6. They were making analogies with the suspension of Basil Pandey and Chandra Sharma before. And even, of course, Patrick Manning. Let me tell you briefly the difference. These guys are playing smart with foolishness, you know. Sharma, Pandey, and Manning committed offenses in the house. So, for example, therefore, when Pandey was there, he had his laptop, and Barry Sanders told him to put it away. And he said no. And Barry told him second time, and he said no. At third time he said no, Barry put him out. Suspended. And in the house. So therefore what he did was to contravene the house standing orders. Because the speaker controlled the house. Sharma. What Sharma did? Sharma went to the tea room and said, Rowdy put him with a teacup. And when they of course had an inquiry, they realized that Rowdy don't even put him with a thimble. And therefore, he was suspended. Patrick Manning, what did he do? He came to the house and said that Kamala House was built overnight for millions. Was that effect? And Kamala bought some old receipts from 3 and 10 years ago to show that the house was not built overnight. And therefore, they used their numbers to put Manning before the Privileges Committee. Manning refused to go, and he was suspended. So all these issues took place in the house, and all these issues impacted on the behavior of the house. In Rowdy's case, Rowdy brought some emails which were given to him. That had nothing to do in the house, and he brought these emails that were given to him, and he said, look, I have these here as accusations. I went to the president, and after 6 months, the UNC president did nothing. He said, I couldn't go to the Integrity Commission because 4 months now, they have none. So what did he do? He came to Parliament where he felt that he would have been protected, and where he felt that he would have been given the kind of understanding that he fits his office. My friends, that's not the case. What I'm saying to you, in other words, in the case of Pandey and Manning and Sharma, these guys, when a member behaves disorderly in the face of the House, the standing orders of the House give the Speaker certain powers to maintain order in the House. In other words, I'm saying to you, the Speaker has powers to bring the House back to order so the work of the House can continue. And if a member disobeys the Speaker's instructions, and the Speaker is forced to put the member out of the House, that member is automatically suspended. In other words, I'm saying, it is based on the operations of the standing orders. As happened to Pandey, as happened to Sharma, as happened to Manning. But when a House, when a Parliament resolves to get rid of one of its members, that is not an act of disorder. What disorder did Rowdy commit last night? When a Parliament, I want to say it again slowly, I'll stop a little bit. When a Parliament decides to get rid of one of its members, as they did last night, that is not an act of disorder. If you sit on the floor in the Parliament, and the Speaker actually get up and refuse, he suspend the Parliament, call the police and put you out. That is an act of disorder. What did Rowley do? Where's order? Where's order? If the House is deliberating on an issue and say that we feel we don't want you among us, as we did last night, Rowley, we don't want you among us. You see Monilal, who feels a young Pandey could make joke and the flipper, that old push plum. Right? No, you feel, no, everything's a joke. I'm just saying, gallery, if you like, goodbye. Thank Monilal. Thank Monilal. You see, suddenly, of course, Monilal get belly. Suddenly, he lost some and he gets some. And I'm saying, therefore, if you feel you don't like somebody in the parliament, as they don't like Rowley possibly, and you put him out, it's a dangerous process. I said today, I say again tonight, you don't have to like Rowley, and he don't have to like you. You don't have to eat with Rowley, and he don't have to eat with you. You don't have to sleep with Rowley, and he doesn't have to sleep with you. But God knows, you have to work with Rowley, because he represents 23,000 people in Cottage West, and that is his function as an elected member of parliament. Yes. You have to work with him. So I'm saying, therefore, what Pandey and his house and his parliament did last night is a sign of Pandey, apologized. For the second period, Pandey apologized. What of course, the Speaker and Kamala did last night, I'm saying to you, is a sign of dictatorship. What the House did yesterday, the world will look upon this country with a great deal of shame. And if there's a rating for democracy, as Moody has rated, this country would have fallen drastically because of this. My friends, in parliaments all over the world, allegations are made. And the reasons allegations are allowed to be made in parliament is the price we pay for democracy. You could go in parliament and say that man to opponent is a crook and they can't do nothing. You could say she's a saint and none, and they still can't do nothing. But come outside and say nothing. So parliament allows you that democracy, which is one you must treasure. In other words, I'm saying, if a member gets information that he genuinely believes is true, and it so happen that it turned to be true, he therefore must be allowed to come to the one place that the law allows him to do so and raise it and say, hey, hello, this is happening, that is happening, and possibly it is true. The penalty for doing that, my friends, if it turns out to be untrue, only the House can decide, but only after the issue has been fully evaluated and assessed. Nowhere at all it can be done with the majority government by way of a motion in one day, not in 1 day, in a half day. No way, no government in this world except this one could bring a motion for suspension except this one, and in a half day suspend once yet again the opposition leader, right, without even validating the matter, assessing it, calling the committee, let him give him a chance to defend himself, and so on. Ask my chairman what the brightest laws in Trinidad today, most sought after, in any issue, you have a right to be heard. And you see, like that's the first legal lesson I have. You have a right to be heard. And what they should have done, it is so incensed, is take everybody privilege committee. And let them, of course, go there with witnesses, documents, and so on. But no, they came for Rowley, and they felt it's Rowley they got. I'm saying, therefore, that last night we saw a dictatorship at home. And my friends, that is frightening. I don't know why. They have 2912, but it's not 24. I gone, and they gone for another reason, and so on. They have 2412 now. And look what they are doing. I'm asking you. Suppose they had 33-3, like Robbie had in 86. Be dead. Robbie alone and his government could have changed the whole constitution, and by law, he would have been right. He could go to Parliament and say, I want to be Prime Minister for 10 years. Change constitution, and we will be legally right. End comes up. But 33-3, Robbie didn't do that. He didn't change one clause in the constitution. You know why? He respected the people. He respected the institution of Parliament. And he felt that there is no reason to use this big power he has to silence the opposition. But three persons was Manning, who of course, you know, should have been saying he lost the English. But of course, thanks to Acwell, he gave him a blind. But most students don't beat him. Right? So they had Manning, they had Muriel Donovan, and they had this guy and Maurice Marshall. Three of them, you know. Manning, Muriel, and Maurice. Three of them. And yet for all, Robbie at 33-3, you do that. So some of you go back to 1971 when Williams had a parliament. This boy Jamada had a no vote campaign. Nobody, of course, went up for election. And Williams went the entire 26 seat. But he did 36 he won. And then, of course, a fellow from Point, J.R. Richardson, decided that he was in opposition. So in 35 won. What did Williams do? He didn't change a thing. He was never oppressive once. Kamala, why are you doing this country this, Kamala? Kamala, why are you doing this country this? What have I done to this country to put Kamala there? I tell you, though I apologize several times, I will go to my grave apologizing. Because you know what? You should never have gone in the first place. Pande won me. Ravish won me. And then there's Mam Topuna won me. But then they stick with their heads. I'm saying therefore, we are in serious trouble. My friends, because you have the power, you don't necessarily have to use it. Let me tell you, as I'm here, let me tell you this government record over the last 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Parliament, right here, on Wednesday, March 25th, 2015, the debate keeps rolling. Wednesday, April the 8th, 2015, the debate keeps rolling. Friday, April 17, 2015, the debate keeps rolling. Friday, April 24th, 2015, is what we call Private Members' Day. The last Friday in every month is opposition to talk, to motion and so on. So that day, they put up a rolling on that day. But again, very early, Friday, May 1st, rolling. Wednesday, May 6th, yesterday, rolling. And tomorrow, they have no rolling. They don't have no rolling. What they have tomorrow is to hang their heads in shame. But they don't have rolling, but they only have me for a time. Because I tell you this, the PNM said, not tomorrow, the PNM said that they're no longer going to Parliament. They have refused to go as of tomorrow. Yes, they're going to the Senate, but not to the Parliament. And therefore tomorrow, and continuing until the Parliament results, there will be no PNM in the house. I am not a PNM, I was not there for the ILP. My party, your party put me there. So I have to be there tomorrow and watch them in the face. Right? Watch them in the face. But I tell you something, the party also advised me that every day they have Parliament to leave at tea time in solidarity with the PNM.
Yes. Yes.
So therefore tomorrow at 4:30, when they go upstairs to bed, I go on. I go on. I go my breakfast shell. Because you have the power, it doesn't mean that you have to use it. Because you have 24 votes. A good leader would say, it wouldn't look so good to use my power in this way. A good leader would say, I am pained because if I do that, it would look bad. Because a good leader would say, the bigger picture is what the public would think. And I'm amazed that the Prime Minister cannot see that. Let me tell you, my friends, the Speaker is mortally afraid of vote. It's a kind of fear that you can't understand, because the Speaker doesn't want to displease his Queen. For him, you know, she's royal. For him, she's royal. I used to be so, but I used to be so. I could understand that. She's tied up with a marriage. She's married. But she didn't know that I would have been a political Samson to bust the marriage. And today I'm free. The Speaker has lost all sense of reason. I've never seen nowhere of this anywhere before in my life. To displease Kamala or to act contrary to wishes, the Speaker believes is suicide for him. So as such, therefore, he doesn't act at all in any way against her. My friends, I am convinced that what I did yesterday on my party's behalf, on your behalf, was the right thing to do.
Yes.
I am convinced that by my registering a vote in Parliament against the motion was what you would have been happy about and be proud about.
Yes, sir, yes!
Kamala, for government, and a few fanatical supporters would call me a rowdy lover.
That's all right.
Hoping, of course, that that would sting me in some way.
Yes.
In fact, well, I really don't care. But they even made a point. They say how rowdy first motion was the motion against me that I shouldn't be in cabinet. And how I am, of course, grateful because Kamala and they stand for me against rowdy. You understand them? I give to that cabinet and that government more than they could ever give me. I give them power. I give them power. What they did for me, they had a right to do. I put them there. But what's here?
And salary?
What's it? I pay what the salary was 18. And one day, one day, don't push me, I promise to do this campaign at a high level. Very high. But one day, when they push me, I'll tell you all I did.
What the year
The same way I exposed Baba Bo.
Yes.
Talk, and then I put the picture in the chair. I told him square. If you see Baba yesterday, I'm not going to check on the picture. And Bishop Victor Philip, I said him somewhere here. I gave it to him. She couldn't say a word. Bishop Victor Philip. Come, Bishop. Bishop, did I give you a check, Bishop?
Yes, 140,000.
That is correct.
100,000 first, and we put it such and they give me the 40,000 because they give me 40,000 every year.
That is correct.
She's a hustler.
Yes. And this hustler, I didn't give her any money. So I'm saying to you, they don't call me what they want. But I tell you something, if they call me a rowdy lover, I have a problem with that. Just don't call me a drunkard. Just call me a drunkard. The same way Munilal called Kamala a drunkard in final. Look what Munilal is now. But I tell you something, he will be the biggest, I want to say, traitor on board Kamala's ship just now. Mark my words. So that's what I want. Once you all are proud of me, that's enough for me. Because Kamala's politics is a politics we should never have in this country. Never have. Her politics is a politics of hate. And my friend is frightening. No other party in this country is encouraging its supporters to hate others the way this party, this government is encouraging it. No other party. And before this government, no other government did. Not even our worst days. And my friends, this has to stop. But this can only stop when you and everyone else do the correct thing and vote this government out. In all of its excesses, in all of its bad government, in all of its scandalous behavior, I urge you to stay calm. People were angry this morning. So I could hear the passion in the voice. This morning and all today, you could cut the anger in people. But I ask you to stay calm. Stay calm. Bite the bullet for just a few weeks more. And we shall overcome this blackest period in this country's political history. Don't do anything to force this government to call a state of emergency. Regardless, that's what they want. Don't do that. I said to you, however much you are provoked, don't give Canada a chance to call a state of emergency. You will be playing in their hands, my friends. If you're provoked, if you've been slapped, turn the other cheek for a few more weeks. I tell you, as I end, never let the sins of Canada and the government fall upon you and your children. I thank you.